What's going on? Welcome back to the MoAir Podcast. Today we have Shane Madson joining us all the way from Alberta, Canada. Shane runs Mad Custom Cubs. He has a really cool YouTube channel. He has a lot of really cool airplanes that he's built, and we'll get into that shortly. But he's a private pilot that flies up in Canada and down in the States. So I'm really looking forward to talking to him. All right, Shane, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, well, I'm Shane Madson from Westlock, Alberta, Canada. I'm a private pilot that loves aviation and got into building airplanes. I love. I'm more of a guy that likes fabricating and doing that kind of stuff. I first started building. I was always everything I had, from snowmobiles to uh, motocross bikes. Like I used to race motorcycles. I just everything had to be customized and my own, and it was that's what kind of led me into aviation and especially the experimental amateur built side of the airplanes. That's kind of got me into building airplanes. And the biggest thing is when I was doing my pilot's license too, I was trying to figure like I want to be up there in the air. I want to fly. It's obviously it was especially right out of high school. It was pretty expensive for me or how to afford to do it. Like getting my license one point and then getting to be able to have my own airplane. So yeah, I said that the only way I think I can afford it is if I got to build it. So I
That's
kind of
awesome.
led into this kind of thing. So
That's really cool, man.
yeah,
So let's start out with the earliest memory that you can think of aviation and what made you want to get into flying.
probably the earliest I was probably about 2, 3 years old. I was just a little guy. My dad had a Piper Cherokee, and I remember going up with him a couple times. I just remember at one point he were oh man, this back in the early '80s, and flying with him, and it was just I will never forget it. Like he was doing loops and zero whatever they are
Zero G.
zero G's and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I was just a little kid and loved it. And ever since then, every time I even drove by an airport, I'd get like, I don't know, a sense would come to me. And I'm like, man, this is so cool. Like, look at the airplanes. And I was born in a kind of a farming community, so there was quite a few crop dusters too. And then I remember seeing them, and I'd ride my bike. If I could see him close to a field that he was dusting crops, I would ride my pedal bike as quick as I could, and I just sit there and watched it. It was awesome. Like that's all. I'm like, I want to be a crop duster. So
Yeah.
it was.
So that's
It
where
was
that's where the mad part of Mad Customs comes in, right? Is inhaling all that crop dust and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, geez. So that's really cool, though. So you started at an early age. Your dad was into aviation, so you kind of got exposed to it early and just loved it ever since, huh?
Yeah, yeah, like it was kind of when my dad, like in the early '80s, probably like around 84, 85. We're really here in Alberta, oil and gas, natural gas is a big thing for our economy. And my dad obviously was in the oil field, and we took a pretty bad downturn at one of the falls in the uh, oil and gas prices. So that was the first toy that had to go. And then he never did get back into aviation, but with me, it always stuck. And it just, how can I make this happen? And at first, it wasn't. I knew it. I thought it was out of reach, and it's more me learning that it's um, you got to make it a priority. But for like when I was younger, growing up, obviously when you was 16, 17 years old, my vehicle, and I got my driver's license, so I was saved up work, get my vehicle, a truck or whatever, and then obviously I had to customize it and make it own. It was a 1970 GMC, and then I loved snowmobiling. It's pretty popular around here and going into the mountains. So that was kind of my toy. It was modifying sleds and kind of flipping, building, flipping, selling to get up to what I wanted. and it kind of then I got into motocross racing, and then it kind of just kept involved into that stuff. And then actually it was kind of a guy I was doing some work, oil field work. I was doing I was doing a bunch of sandblasting of tanks and stuff, underground tanks that they're recoating. And the
Uh,
one guy, he knew I was um, building motorcycles on the side, like after hours or in my garage. And he says, "You should get into building airplanes." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, right." Like, me building an airplane. And he says, "You'd be surprised. They're probably a lot simpler and easier to build an airplane than that bike he last built." And I'm like, "Well, okay, well, yeah, cool, thanks." And it kind of went on my way. And then it just kind of stuck in my head. And then yeah, that kind of led to my first time buying my first airplane I bought. Was quite a story. Found it on eBay, and it was down in Louisville, Kentucky. It was a 1953 or yeah, 53 tri-pacer, and it was I could afford it at that time. I think it was $12,000, but that's what really made me learn on the process of importing and getting down there to deregister it and register the Canadian, get a flight permit to fly it up. And I even got two pre-buy inspections done on it. I was like, I'm going to make sure this is okay. And I learned so much from that incident. And when I heard that process, and when I got it up here, we made the flight. I had a friend. I was actually doing my pilot's license at that time. Wasn't I didn't have it, so I brought a guy with me, a good friend, and he helped me the journey getting it up here. And it was great when I got it here, and it ran good and everything. But when we stopped, and then I had a licensed AME, that's what we call them here in Canada, to go through it, and we found there's lots of engine issues. Well, not a lot. Their cam was wore out pretty bad, and I'm like, oh no, what did I do? But I got it cheap enough. But that just I couldn't afford an AME or whatever to do it, so I put it into owner maintenance that we're able to do up here, and then that just snowballed like that $12,000 airplane, and it ended up being $95,000 when I was done. But anyway, rebuilt the motor, did a bunch of interior. Well, at first they were oh man, this is where I get rambling. I was trying to figure out the process because this was quite a process with this airplane. It was a pacer, a tri pacer. I made it into a pacer. I love float flying. When I was doing my license, I got my float endorsement right after. This is what I wanted, and I did it for a year in owner maintenance, and then found a whole bunch of issues on an annual inspection with corrosion on the fuselage,
no.
and then it was like, oh, well, then I learned more and researching, and found well, a lot of guys make these into a Bushmaster or the Super Pacer. There's lots
Yeah.
of nicknames for it, and that was my very first project. And at the end of that was I had 95,000 in it, but I had 160 horse in a 4-seat kind of Cub or yeah, it wasn't the Super Cub 4-seater Super Cub. It was more of a 4-seat PA12 kind of, but
Yeah.
it was awesome. Loved it. And then you start watching YouTube videos and what other guys are doing and inspiring me to do. I took a flight in a Super Cub, and that changed everything. Like that's what
Yeah.
I so
That's awesome, man.
yeah.
So it sounds like you guys have a little more freedom to work on your own airplanes up there in Canada than we do down here in the States.
Yeah, it's the biggest like so there's certain aircraft like well obviously like the certified end of things is I believe it's the exact same as what you guys got down there, but some of these older airplanes, and there's only a certain like there's a list of what airplanes will qualify, what you can put them into owner maintenance.
Okay.
There's a big there's a lot of talk on what you can and can't do on owner maintenance, but as far as I know and what I learned of that process there is like you're just able to sign off your log uh your maintenance records or your, like your
Okay.
with it, but it's still you have to use certified parts. Where a lot of guys think, well, I'm going to just buy this. a lot of the Cubs are able to do it, like the Super Cubs, PA12s, 20s, 22s, and so on. And they buy it and like, oh, now I can put these experimental BGs on it. I can put all these instruments in it and stuff. You technically can't. And a lot of guys still do. It's just whether or not till someone reports you or you get caught doing it.
Right.
So when I put it in owner maintenance, I wanted to extend the wings to make more, because they're the clip wing on the Pacer. I
Right.
wanted to extend the wings and the flaps and ailerons. And I found out I can't do that unless there's an STC, which there was. So I had to buy the STC and stuff. So you still got to treat it like certified aircraft, but you're able to do your own sign off on your in your
Well,
logbook
that's
stuff.
pretty cool though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it can't leave Canada. Like I believe that it can't be sold to the States, and I'm not even sure. People can correct me, like if I can be even allowed with that airplane to fly into the States
Oh, okay.
with the owner maintained airplane. So
All right. That's pretty cool. I didn't know
yeah,
that existed up there, but that would be a good way to do it. I know that in Canada, it's probably more bush pilot aviation geared than down here where I'm at in the States, at least. I know northern states probably about the same as you, but you can't always get to an AMP or an AME, whatever you guys call them up there.
yeah.
So that would be cool to be able to do your own work.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And I had to. That's the only way I could afford it,
Yeah.
and to allow me to get into it. And I learned so much by getting into projects. And I was like, once you uh, paper, when I started taking it apart, I just learned so much. Like, we had to redo the engine as soon as I got it. Like, I pulled it out and gave it to the AMO, because so an AME here is a aircraft maintenance engineer, but it all depends. There's a bunch of different categories. They're not allowed. They're just general maintenance, and then an AMO is if you can specialize in instruments or engine overhauls, and then commercial. It's more of a commercial end of it. So that's who I helped with the engine. I had to get an AMO to overhaul this engine, and at that time too, we ended up having it in owner maintenance. And in owner maintenance, I could do it, but I just have to, and I just sign out the logbooks. But I didn't have the experience to do it, so I did it with an AMO and learned so much just on engines alone right there. And I have a background. I'm a small engine mechanic, and I got millwright experience and stuff like when I was working in the oil field. So it I had someone always guide me or mentoring me through the process of building airplanes and getting to know what I know now. But I never did go to school or anything for it.
So after you got into flying yourself and working on your own tri pacer that you turned into a pacer or tail wheel, you started this building airplanes on the side while you were working in the oil fields. When did that become like a full time gig for you?
So when I was working in the oil field, I started out in the drilling rig side, and then got into production and the gas plants, and that's when I started doing my millwrights as overhauling compressors and engines and stuff like that. And then uh, I worked my way up to become a production foreman for Trident Exploration at the time, and they were really close. It was kind of nice being a foreman. I was home every night and weekends off, so I was able to. That's what got me into building airplanes on the side. And that was in 2020. It was COVID. Yeah, it's pretty, everyone relates to COVID or 2020. So that was the date that I officially quit the oil field. So it was kind of before. It was kind of our awesome prime minister here, Justin Trudeau, at the time was really hurting our industry at the time. And you could just see it. Like Trident was struggling, the fall of natural gas prices. I was in a natural gas plant, and I was doing my own planes. I'd build it, and then I'd sell one. I'd fly it for a year, and like, man, that's when all these different mods were coming out, like pistol flaps, the different landing gear, suspension with Acme Aero, and Tony with TK1. And then there was just so much, and like I got a plane done, and all these other stuff came out. I'm like, I want to do that. So fly this airplane, sell it, and then get into this, build another one. And then, so that's when I was working in the oil field. Just, it was a hobby. I would spend so many late nights in the garage, or it was a garage at the time. And then I built the hangar slowly as I could afford it. And then it would just, the downturn, like Trident was really starting to struggle. And I'm like, I got to do something. I got to look at something different. Like with the oil field, it's like a roller coaster ride. You're doing awesome, money's flowing. And then all of a sudden it's like, slow
Yeah.
down, guys. Like, yeah. And you're letting guys, good operators or people go that shouldn't be. And it was stressful for a little bit. And I'm like, I want to do so. I love doing my own thing. And I'm like, it would be cool to be able to build airplanes for a living. And I just was too scared to make that jump. And what pushed me to do it, in a way, it worked out. It worked out for me with the downturn of the oil and gas, and Trident ended up going under. And that forced me. I just prior months before that, I had a customer. Built an airplane, a Super Cub, that a customer had two guys that were really interested when I was selling it because I wanted to build this other one. And the one guy that didn't get it, he says, "Well, hey, can you build me one just like it?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah, I'll help you do it." So it just worked out perfect. And I started building his, and then that's when Trident Exploration went under. And I was like, "Well, that's all right. At least I got an airplane to build." And I was building my own and working with the customer at the time, and built two wicked airplanes. And
Yeah.
yeah, that got me into slow. It pushed me, and I'm glad. When you look back, bad things happen sometimes for a reason, and
Yeah.
it made me doing what I love every day now. So,
That's awesome, man. Is that when you were building the Pocahontas Cub?
no, well, yeah, it was, yeah,
Yeah. That one was
for
really
sure.
cool, man.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that one started out with an 0360 in it, and then that's when then I ended up taking that engine out and trying the Yamaha Apex in it.
Yeah.
I thought like that'd be this wild Cub with 300 horse,
Yeah.
but that was a huge learning experience as well. I learned
That,
so much from that. So
well, you've always kind of been on the edge of like innovation and trying to push the limits of what's possible. You don't just take the normal and build the same Cub everybody else is building. You want to make it yours, it seems like, which is really cool. And I seen recently you've been like building some wheel spacers. You guys are, I don't know if you sell them or if you just build them for your own planes, but they're like the ATV or UTV wheel
yeah.
hubs that you put on there for the brakes and all that stuff. That was pretty cool. I just watched a video on that the other day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm building them, and I was right at the start. I'm like, hey, this will help me fund my turbine cub project by like that's how it involved. Like I built this my other project I got going on, the turbine project, and I had the Patina Cub, and then I'm like, and it had 35-inch bush wheels on it and stuff, and then I wanted to do that on I wanted 35s for my turbine Cub, and then it just the prices were going through the roof and everything was getting so expensive. And then I think it was just when the tariffs were starting to happen, and I was just like, man, I can't afford freaking tires for my airplane and what I want. I'm like, well, I got them on the Patina Cub, I can do that. And I'm like, Randy Applington up at Airframes or Carbon Concepts, we were kind of throwing, he brought it up one time and we are kind of back and forth about, man, we'll figure out a way to adapt ATV wheels and brakes. Like the brakes are far superior, and the options and the pricing. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna do it. This is like perfect opportunity. So I just sat down, and the first set I had a bunch of 4130, and I had at the time a CNC plasma table, so there was still lots of machining afterwards and a manual lathe and everything. So I kind of made up a prototype and put it on my plane. I'm like, sweet, I got some 35-inch bush wheels now for the turbine project. And though at that time I reached out to Airframes Alaska, or Alaskan Gear Company at the time, and say, hey, would you willing to help me out or want to sponsor part of this turbine cub build? And they did sponsor a set of 35-inch bush wheels. So
That's
I
really
did
cool.
get a set, but it was cool. Like, but they couldn't do much on the wheels and stuff. And I was super excited to be able to get new 35-inch bush wheels. So
That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll talk about the Turbine Cub here in a minute, but one airplane that I really like and it's really unique and it's been featured everywhere I know, but there's a story behind it too. I want to talk about the Patina Cub.
Okay, yeah.
So that airplane is so cool. I mean, you put a radial engine in a Cub, which is just crazy to think of in general, and then the old school paint theme on it, like everything about that airplane is cool. But I know from watching your videos that there's also a story behind that Cub of why it's so important to you.
Uh, yeah, like even thinking about it gets me emotional. Yeah, so when I was building the Pocahontas Cub there, when I was putting the Apex in it, uh, Sam Theme, so friend in Minnesota, he was following my build and what I was all doing to make this adapt to work on a Super Cub, building the engine mount and everything and the engineering and R&D of it. And he kind of reached out to me because he was actually doing the same thing, and we're swapping ideas back and forth, and became developed a pretty good like a relationship, aviation. We never got to meet each other, unfortunately, but back and forth. And I got to the point that I made these engine mounts up for, or the jigs for these engine mounts, and he was going to work with me, and I was going to send him the jig down, and he was going to kind of start building engine mounts for me down in the lower 48. And then I would look after the ones in Canada and stuff. And then at that time, unfortunately, he passed away with a brain aneurysm.
That sucks. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Man, I just wish I could have met him.
Yeah. After watching your video, he seemed like a really cool dude. Seemed like he meant a lot to you. It's just, man.
Yeah. And it was cool. And his dad kind of was afterwards going through his messages and who just to reach out, like what his son, who his friends were, contacts and stuff. And he came across my contact and what our relationship and our messages were. And he reached out to me and he says, I have Sam's Cub here. Would you want to finish it for me? And I'm like, man, I'd be honored to build it and do it. And I said, but I learned so much on that Apex Cub. It's kind of I've been there, I've done it. I really want to build a Cub with a radial engine. I'm like, are you fine if I don't continue with Sam putting an Apex in? That if I want to put one of these Werner radial 9-cylinder engines in it, and he says, yeah, you can do whatever you want with it, but I know it's sitting here. I'm never going to finish it. So I'm like, awesome. So on my way back from Oshkosh, going through Minnesota there, I picked it up and it was cool because it started its life out as a J3 Cub, the fuselage was. And Sam had found a set of D&E wings that were partially completed. I'd say about 50% completed. So I brought the project back with me and then started the MDRA process. That's kind of the amateur built process here in Canada, and started building away. And I modified the fuselage so it was a J3, and Sam started making it to accept Super Cub wings, like box up the front part of the fuselage where the spars attached, and then also flap handle and run the cables and everything for that to make it a Super Cub. And then he started doing some changes too in the fuselage, because in a J3 you got your fuel tank that sits in front of you. Obviously with Super Cub the fuel tanks on the back, and then I got it and I did quite a bit more mods, like beefed it up for the X brace up above, the X brace, the firewall, did some more H brace, the tail section. A lot of that stuff. Overhead flap handle from Javron wing struts, and finished the wings, and then I reached out. Randy helped me, or well, he developed a new flap system that carbon fiber with Kevlar in the middle, and it's a unique, cool flap. I was going to put Peaceful flaps, but I'm like, hey, Randy's got this out. Him and I have a pretty good relationship. I want to try it out. So we put those style flaps on. It bends. The flap can contour into like a cupping, kind of make more like a parachute. And half the weight too, because it's all carbon fiber.
That's
Put
cool.
that on, and it turned out awesome. Like Acme suspension, and I had 9-inch extended gear on them, 4130, and then they just shortly after that came out with um, titanium. I'm like, oh boy, that's what I want. So I got titanium gear, and now with the ATV tires and hubs brake system, and yeah, and then finished it, and then actually flew it and put it in. It was at Oshkosh in Acme's booth, and kind of was able to tell the story behind Sam. And like it's amazing. I got on this story, and I'm rambling back. I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta get back to the story about Sam here.
Oh, you're
So
good, man. I love
yeah,
hearing all about the airplane, and I think it's a great tribute to Sam. That you get to fly it around and you get to show it off to everybody, and it's became like a staple for you almost. That airplane that started out as somebody else's that meant something to you is now like kind of something that everybody knows without even knowing anything about it. They just see it, they know that's the Patina Cub.
yeah. That's all I got. Is that the guy that built the radial Cub, or that's more known for that. Like, helped me out so much, and that's my whole process of here. I'm up in Canada, and I'm like, I got to do stuff to get noticed or and I love customizing and doing that kind of stuff. And when I found out I could do that with Super Cubs. The Super Cubs are like the Harley Davidson motorcycle or airplanes, because everyone has STCs and mods for Super Cubs, and that just it helped me so much by making stuff different. Like I put 0320s, 0360s, Apex, radial, and now I'm doing one with a turbine. So it's like
Yeah.
uh, it just keeps me thinking, and it stimulates my brain to keep thinking more and trying to do stuff. And like watching Mike Patey videos, that was so inspiring. And just like, man, I can do this. It was even watching biker build offs, like stuff like that. I love that.
Yeah.
So
So what was it in your mind that just made you think, I'm going to put a turbine engine in this Cub?
it was a customer reached out to me, down in the
Really?
lower 48 there by you there. He says he was a crop duster, and he's like, man, I can get my hands on a couple PT 6s dash 20s, or 20s or 21s. Anyway, the small, like uh, the smaller ones. And he said, have you ever thought about putting it in a Cub? And I'm like, well, that's kind of the next step. I'd love to, especially if you're going to fund it, like we're going to work together doing it. And so I'm like, yeah. So then I started doing a whole bunch of research when he said, like, yeah, he said, like, if I have a good spray year and everything works out, we could, he wants to go ahead with the project. And I think he's going to get his brother involved too to help him. And so I just started doing as much R&D and research on it. Well, what fuselage, like, because soon as I researched the turbine enough, and that it's like a normal Cub fuselage just isn't strong enough or can handle that kind of horsepower. So it was like, I had to find the right fuselage. Where am I going to have to develop and make my own? And that's when I had Oshkosh, or like dealt with backcountry Super Cubs a little bit. I'm like, that Rev 3 is the perfect match. It's right, the right size of huge, like enormous, like it's a strong built Cub. And I think the biggest thing that lacked in that Rev 3, like there was the Rev 2 and then the Rev 3, was horsepower. It could fly slow. Like its stall speed on that's 24 mile an hour at
Wow.
gross weight at 2,700 or 2,700 pounds. So I'm like, when I was looking at it, I'm like, this could fit a turbine, like a
Yeah.
PT6. And then so like, yeah, this is the fuselage we need. I think we can make it work. We're gonna, with the weight and balance issues, because that turbine it's a big turbine, 550 shaft power, and can't remember off the top of my head what the weight of the PT6. I know everything about the Walter now because that's what I ended up putting in, but we were going to have to keep that CFG of that aircraft with a header tank, which we needed to put one in anyway. And so where we're going to put it in the fuselage. And I was a lot of back and forth too with backcountry, and they started building me a fuselage and everything. And then I'm like, I called the customer up, like, hey, we got to go. This is what we got to do and everything. And then he kind of like, he's like, sorry, man, I'm going to have to back out. And I'm like, no, I totally understand. And then after, I'm like, I want to do this.
Yeah,
Like I
you're like,
put
I'm gonna
a
do it
lot of
anyway.
work into it. It's like we're gonna make this happen. Like, and I talked to Matt at Acme. I'm like, man, this is my idea. This is the customer that wanted, and I'm like, let's do this. Like we can do this. And he's like, yeah, make it happen. That's where the make it happen. And Matt always was telling me, and I like yeah, and I just started building. I'm like, how can I do the hardest part is like it's gonna cost quite a bit of money, and I just put my nose down and I had to work, and I'm like, I do not want to sell the Patina Cub. Like that's got a lot of sentimental value to me, and I love that airplane, and it's perfect for what kind of flying I do around home here, like bouncing around. And but so we started crowdfunding it, and that's helped it helped get it started. And then I talked to backcountry Super Cubs, and they've said, like, is there any possible way you would be willing to help out with this project? This is what my plan is. The customer backed out. Now you already got the fuselage built. Like, would you be willing to finance me for your kit till I build this turbine project and sell it? And they were, yeah, I think we could do something like that. And I'm like, oh, right on. Like, so that's kind of the deal. How I made this happen is like, it's not like I got a big bank account. Everyone that drives by, oh, look at, you must be rich. Your dad builds airplanes and stuff. I'm like, I'm far from it. Like, I love it so much. I don't have a holiday trailer and a big boat and a brand new pickup truck. My priorities are aviation, and I just make it happen. It's my passion, and my son's now really like getting involved and help me in the hangar. My wife helps me out a lot. Like, so it's, yeah, you don't have to be rich to have these airplanes. You just got to make it a priority
Yeah,
and want it to happen. And yeah, so.
that's awesome. So first, I want to ask: is the crowdfunding still open for people on the Turbine Cub?
Yes, it still is. If you go to my website, Mad Custom Cubs, it's there. So there's a bunch of different levels of sponsorship, but the main one, and that's been the most popular, is the name on the plane. And so it's $250 for a name on the plane, Canadian too, by the way. So it's really Canadian pesos. And then in return, we give you a hoodie, and we put your name on the plane for the sponsorship. And then at the end, that all the names on the plane, we put it in a draw, and then I'm giving away either 15,000 or their pilot's license. So yeah, so it kind of that helped kick off, and it was helping to get this thing growing. There's not a whole lot names. I don't know. We're at probably there's like 70 or some names on the plane, but it's really close. Like might see the tail here. I
Yeah,
got the fuselage covered, and we're designing the wrap right now. So it's going to be pretty soon a cutoff where it can be in the wrap, but it will be, yeah, it can keep coming in. I did put it'll be outside of the wrap, or we'll figure something creative to keep the names coming on the plane.
right on.
And yeah, and it's coming soon that it will be no more names on the plane and no more sponsorships. We're making it happen, so we
All
have
right,
the fun
guys.
to do it.
Hey, you heard it. You got to get in there quick. Go to madcustomcubs.com if you want your name on the plane, and he'll send you a hoodie and put you in for the drawing. So
Yeah.
that'd be good. Hopefully, we can get you some more money there and
Oh, I
get this thing
appreciate it.
going. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
it's
I'm
so
really,
close. Like
I'm
it's
excited to
pretty
see this
exciting.
thing. I've been watching all the videos on it.
Yeah, and it's sitting here, and I got two customer projects right now that they've been coming work. And usually my weekends are the busiest because that's when they can come and help me and work with me to to keep it like I'm a builder assist and everything.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's just like, man, we got to get this done. And like, I have them trying to get this done as fast as I can so I can. Usually, the evenings and weekends is when I work on my projects, and during the week is customer stuff. But
yeah,
the last two projects is kind of customers that are involved, and they're most of their free times on the weekends. So uh, I kind of trade sometimes. But yeah, the turbine club has been sitting stagnant for a little bit, but hopefully this summer we get right back at it. I had a goal that it was going to be done. I wanted to fly up to Alaska to the Airmen's Association, but I don't think we're going to do that. And then I'm like, well, I can make it to Oshkosh, but now there's some other stuff going on that I think it will have to wait to the next year or the fall. It'll be flying by the end of the summer. I'm thinking, I'm hoping, but just so much involvement and stuff going on and happening with Mad Customs and it's all exciting stuff. But we'll get there. It's
yeah.
gonna happen. And just
That's
please
awesome,
be
man.
patient with me, guys. It's coming. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So I've been seeing that you have all this stuff going on. You still make time for your wife and your family. I like the videos where you take your wife out flying. One in particular cracked me up, and it was, if we broke down on a gravel bar, could we survive? Right. So how much convincing did it take you to get your wife to go stay the night on a gravel bar with you?
She is amazing. She almost pushes me more to do that stuff. She wasn't too keen about roughing it. Usually, like, we'll have sleeping bags and mattresses and stuff. I'm like, no, let's do one that's whatever we normally keep in the plane. Don't. And he's like, well, can I bring this blanket? I usually have it on my lap. I'm like, okay, yeah, you can that, but no, and I know she does, but there be no pillows, no nothing easy, like, and just whatever I know normally keep in the plane, and she is a trooper. I think I probably complained that night more than she did. Like, that was probably the worst sleep, and we learned so much from that sleep. And also now I packed some different things in the Cub, like a mattress, like because they're so light and small that you can blow up and you just throw it in the bottom of the belly pod, and it's not that bad. But they're yeah, the sleep was probably the hardest, and now I'd do it again too. I'd put more spruce boughs down and stuff, but we were on the side of the gravel bar, but it was cool. She loves it. She pushes me more to go do that stuff than
That's
me. I'm
awesome.
always like, well, we got all this work in the hangar. We got to get this done first. We're like, drop it, leave it, let's go flying. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to get my wife into flying. She's never actually been in a general aviation airplane before, and I've had my license since what, 2010. But it's just life got in the way, and
Yeah.
flying got more expensive, and you know how it
I
goes.
hear you. Yeah. What really made it change for my wife, or like really got her involved, and like uh, I'll go on a little bit after, but anyway, it was when I took her to Oshkosh, and she didn't really. The first time she came, like went a couple years before that, just usually by myself or with a guy's trip or whatever. And I just come back. I'm so excited. Like, you gotta come, you gotta come. And when she finally did, and she flew down me with the Patina Cub, and she says, excuse me, after that, like, I love this. Like, I
Yeah,
love aviation. I see why. Yeah, he's so excited about it and stuff. And that hooked her. Like, and then it was cool that we flew. We didn't drive all the time, or that year, the first time she was down there, that she loved the flying, the experience, meeting with all the guys coming uh, down low and slow to Oshkosh with Corey Robbins and stuff. And then we went to the Stoll competition at Sodbusters in Hartford, and it was just the community, everyone just welcomed us in. So it was awesome. And with the Patina Cub, it was the best year I've ever had at Oshkosh. It just worked out perfect. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, I've been trying to get my wife to go to Oshkosh. I've never been. I've always wanted to go. We're just always busy in July, and I need to make it a priority at some point, but I haven't been yet. And I'm trying to get my wife to go with me, but she went to a couple stole competitions with me, and she's like, "Oh yeah, it's cool for like 10 minutes," and then after that, she's like, "All right, are we good?" And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna watch all of this." Like,
well, that's what we got to get the lady friends like come there. We'll hook up our wives together, and they can watch some, or they want to go shopping, or they like. Oh yeah, you just got to meet some friends. It's like a almost now for us. It's like a high school reunion. It's like an airplane reunion. And we're like so excited to meet people that we usually only see at Oshkosh.
Yeah,
So especially me being up in Canada, I don't. There, everyone's down in the States, so it's awesome coming down. So
that is cool, man. So you do a little bit of flying in the States and in Canada. Uh, what would you say as far as like your style of flying, your backcountry style? Which one's better? Like, which one do you rank higher for your style?
man, it's really close. Like when we flew down to Oshkosh and were playing around there with Corey and Colin and them, like they had showed like it's very equal. Like the biggest difference is population. Up here, there's so much, a lot more crown land. Like if you pretty much like central Alberta and north is it's just bush. So, but also it's solid thick bush. So there's not a whole bunch of landing spots. You got to find like along rivers, the major rivers and stuff. And then you get further to the east, there's more lakes and stuff like into Saskatchewan and further. So it's a good man. I love it all. Like yeah, there's goods and bads about all of it, both of them. Like I plan on doing a bunch more flying in Idaho that I'm really excited about this summer. And, I'm excited to see that. Like, and like, cause you got the high desert and then you also got the mountains and stuff.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's backcountry. Here in Canada, like you're pretty much open range to land along any river bank, sandbar, like lakes, stuff like that. There are not very many restricted area besides like the parks and stuff like that. But there's a huge range. You get further north, like Yukon and Northwest Territories, then you get more in the tundra and stuff, a lot like Alaska. So and yeah, it's cool.
yeah.
It's hard to pick out anything. I love the experience I had all in the lower 48, like going to pretty much Oshkosh and back from Alberta. So
I know that you love making the Super Cubs. I know you love customizing the Super Cubs. Do you also work on other types of airplanes, or is it all just Cubs?
no, tube and fabric is kind of like my specialty or what I enjoy the most. Did a Bear Hawk Patrol. Did one of them. Right now, I'm actually currently helping out with Bear Hawk 5. Um, I've done Citabria,
Oh, nice.
um, but most of it's all been Super Cubs, like PA-12s, P-18s, Bushmasters, or like if you're converting in the 20 to the Bushmasters. Like I'll help with maintenance, like Murphy Rebels and stuff, but I don't. I like probably the biggest learning curve of the late when we did that Bear Hawk was actually building the wings, like riveting, like, and I learned a lot doing that. I just and I like it. And the Bear Hawks perform amazingly. They're a good airplane. I really like them. I just love the Super Cub. It's like a Harley guy trying to convince him to ride a Kawasaki or something. I guess
Oh, yeah, no, I get
or
that.
a Victory. Like it's just, I just love Super Cubs. But I'll work on anything. I love airplanes, period. So
That's cool,
if
man.
my favorite airplane in the world, like that, my goal would be a de Havilland Beaver. Yeah, slow and but I could fill her up and let's go fishing, boys.
What would one piece of advice be to somebody who's just starting out at building airplanes? Like something that you learned the hard way that would have helped you at the very beginning.
Oh, what would I think finding a mentor, finding someone that has done it and that can help you out and talk with to so it doesn't make you don't make costly mistakes and have to go backwards. Um, that'd probably be the biggest thing. And then there is so much now with getting on forums like supercub.org and and a lot of things on Facebook, and then just reaching out and talking to people. They'll save you so much work. That's what a lot of me was when I was building each airplane or each Super Cub. I was like, well, some had slats, some had cuffs, some had VGs. I tried like almost every Super Cub I first started, I didn't put no VGs on, and then I'd put VGs on. I wouldn't put them on the tail, and then I would add them on the tail. And then just for my peace of mind, like what works, what don't. Although that works, and you put all that on the airplane, well, then you just built a heavy Super Cub. You're better to save all that money and just build a light Super Cub, put bush wheels on it, and if you have the money, put flaps like a pistol flap or some kind of Fowler flap or Randy's flaps. You got a bush plane. So yeah, I think finding a mentor to help you out. That's like with everything with life. And you find that someone to coax you and kind of steer you in the right way. And I had mentors on the way. Like I had two different guys that Steve Whitenet helped me so much with my that's who came with me to bring my pacer up from Louisville, Kentucky, and yeah, he helped me refabricate, like extend the wings and recover, do the fabric work, and I learned a lot from him. And then uh, when I ended up having to make it into a Bushmaster, Rob Gibson out of BC, he helped me build it, and then I worked week in, week out. I was in the oil field at that time, and he allowed me to come there and build it with him, and I learned so much from him. And then I just got geeked out and started looking at forums and be part of groups and stuff, and that's where I learned how to make the ultimate bush plane, I guess.
Where do you see Mad Custom Cubs in like the next 5 to 10 years? Are you trying to expand and like have a shop full of people working, or do you want to keep it small where it's just you and your wife and your son building, 1 to 3 projects at a time?
Yeah, and I talk about every day. I think about it every day. Like I've tried expanding a little bit, like hiring people to help me out and finding the right guy that has interest, a young kid that really doesn't need, like, 'cause there's not a big profit margin building airplanes, so it's hard. You got to you got skill, and you got to have the finesse or the you can't come in with an impact wrench like an automotive mechanic or stuff. Like you just gotta have a knack for it. And it's hard. And then especially aviation is a small world. I didn't want to, there's been close call, like you caught stuff or you didn't, it can go south really quick. So I
Yeah.
had a hard time. So you get someone help me instead of just rib stitching a wing. And then I'm like, man, yeah, how come he was seemed like he was going pretty fast there. Like, and I watched him do a couple knots. I'm like, oh yeah. And then sure enough, I look in there, I'm like, oh man, that all these knots are wrong, or you cut it out and redo it, or you're always watching. And I can't, it's more me. I just can't let it go. I it's aviation and there's a liability, and
Yep.
I want the best that I can possibly do. So it's hard to trust anybody.
Right. Yeah.
So
It's not all about reputation. It's also about keeping the end customer safe. I get it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I want to do the best work that I possibly can. And when you get a whole bunch of people and trying to manage it, I don't think I have that in me. I
Yeah.
need someone that I'm a builder. I'm a more hands-on guy. It could maybe in the future I could have someone do it managing it, and I'm still in the shop and building, managing the airplane builds. But right now it's a lot easier, just me, my son, and my wife, and it's starting to work out really good, and I'm really enjoying it. And I want to expand, but I also want to be like the Chip Foose of building airplanes, or the Jesse James, like
Yeah.
uh, that I just make high end, high quality projects that no one else has, or that
You're going to be the air show winner of airplane builders.
that
Like
would be that's the goal.
everybody that shows up with a Mad Customs wins some sort of prize for the looks of the airplane or the way it's built.
Yeah, yeah, I have a lot of respect, and my son is amazing how while he's catching on just the fabric work, and he loves doing the fabric work. I'm like, that's a dying breed out there. Like there's not very many people that do it, especially up here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
hopefully urban fabric plants stay around forever. So
I think fabric's going to make a comeback because of all the experimental builds that people are doing now. There's a lot of fabric in that. So I think fabric's going to start making a comeback soon.
yeah, I do. I like, and it's just from building that bear hawk and stuff, and then coming back to fabric. It just, yeah, I think it's a lot easier for an entry builder, a first time builder, to finish a project. Uh, and fabric work you just gotta, especially at the beginning, just take your time, and that's why they say women usually make the best covering, because they got more patience and they take their time, and that's mostly what fabric work is
Yeah.
just taking your time and enjoying it. Like after doing 2 airplanes in a row and you're rib stitching and your fingers are hurting, it's like, okay, I can't wait for this to be done. But I
Yeah.
enjoy it, and it's like framing a house. You see, is like, wow, I just in 3 days I got this fuselage in fabric. It's not done, obviously. It's wrapped in fabric and tapes on. Like it's like, oh, I see progress. You can be working on a fuselage and you're doing fuel lines and starting the wiring and mounting seats and stuff. That can take you almost a month. Depending, like not just that stuff. I know guys out there are gonna say that takes you that long to do that, but like just you work on it for a month and you look back and like I didn't really do much. It kind of when you start fabricating, it's like wow, look at you can see an airplane now. So
It takes up more space. Yeah. So it
yeah,
looks like more's done.
yeah,
All right, man. So one question that I ask at the close to the end, it's not always the end because sometimes we get off to a tangent after this.
yeah.
One question I always ask close to the end of the podcast is if money was no factor and you could have any aircraft for personal use, what would it be and why? And you kind of touched on this already, but it might be different. We don't know.
Yeah. Or it would for sure. The first thing would be a de Havilland Beaver. And there might even be two then, one on amphib floats and one on bush wheels. I love that airplane. That's kind of like my retirement goal. I think I'd love to do is uh, just get my commercial license and then just go fly a Beaver in or a Twin Otter. Like I got a short little strip. See, we're already rambling on. Or I
Hey,
am
that's good. That's
a
good.
little strip here at my place. I have a quarter section, and I don't own the whole quarter, but the farmer allows me to uh, rent a little strip along the field there, and it's only 1,300 feet long, and it runs north and south, so there's always a crosswind. But Yellowknife was having a bunch of fires and stuff. Well, we have fires up here every year, but uh, the Tindy Air was going back and forth with from Edmonton and up to Yellowknife, and they're going back to Yellowknife empty. And there was one guy that was following my channel and the builds and stuff, and he says, "Hey man, is it all right if we stop by and check out your shop and hangar?" I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." Like, and we're coming back in our Twin Otter. I'm like, "Yeah." I can pick you up at the airport because my strip's kind of short or whatever, and I'll bring you guys in. And they're like, well, how long is your strip? Well, it's 1,300 feet. And, or, yeah, 1,300 feet. And he's like, oh, that's lots of room. Like, what are your neighbors like? Is it all right if we come low and land? I'm like, yeah, do a flyby. If you don't feel comfortable, it is wet at the very beginning. So you basically got 1,200 feet. And so they did a flyby and we took it on video. And that was kind of our first reel that kind of exploded or got a lot more views. And when that Twin Otter landed, and I was like, I was nervous for the guys, but no problem. And when it took off better than a Super Cub at gross weight. Like, and there was only 3 people in the Twin Otter, but that was also part of the inspiration of a turbine in a Super Cub. But it was amazing.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, man. I'll have to
Yeah.
check that video out. I don't think I've seen that one yet.
It was very like right kind of when we first got in. Like I tell Michelle we should almost get that repost that video because
Yeah.
it's awesome. I like and you can see on the propeller the vortices going from the propeller because it was kind of cooler day. And then when it took off, it was just like wow.
That is awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah, well, I'll get with Michelle and we'll see if we can find it and repost it so it's
Yeah.
easier to find for everyone. But
Yeah, I think everybody will like that, and hopefully it gets a lot more views. But that sounds freaking awesome.
yeah, yeah. So it'd be a de Havilland Beaver or the Twin Otter de Havilland. If money was no object, but I definitely love. I'm excited about this turbine project, and I prove it all works and everything. I already have customers lined up to want to put it in the Boss. So
Nice.
there's two potential customers. How I do with the on the Rev 3, because if I make it with work within the Rev 3, it'll be a lot easier in a way. There's certain things that will make it easier and harder in the Boss. So because I had with that the Rev 3, I got a Walter 601D turbine I'm putting into it, and it's a little heavier than the PT6-20. So I brought it into the firewall, and you kind of when you're sitting inside it almost looks like a bell housing of a hot rod. Like it comes right in and it's all the turbine sitting in your lap there to
Wow.
try and keep, because that's 450 pounds and then another 120 pounds, what the weight of the prop and spinner are. It's a lot more than the 360 pound, 400, 360, 380 pound Lycoming four cylinder on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh man, I went off again. So
Hey, no, that's all right, man. This is what
I
I
get
brought you here
excited
for.
about it.
So you can talk, tell your story. I like hearing about this turbine cub. I've been excited for it since what I don't know, probably like I think I found you maybe 4 months ago, and I went back and everything that said turbine cub on it, I watched it.
Yeah, cool. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, man. That's awesome.
So I'm excited to see how it turns out. And that's cool that you brought up the boss, which is the four place cub, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That's I would love to. And that'd be cool. It fit the whole family. I love the Boss. I think that's going to be especially the wings they're building for it.
yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Well, I don't know. Do you watch the National Stole stuff?
Yeah, yeah. You betcha. Yeah,
So that
yeah,
boss that they've been flying on there, that backcountry boss, I think two people fly it, but
yeah.
they're actually building their own bosses. I think at least one of them is. I know. I don't know how well it would perform like fully loaded, but you'd expect if it can do that with their light load that they have, it's got to be able to do anything you want it to do fully loaded.
Yeah, well, the first year they uh, brought it out, we were at Hartford, and Kyle Bushman, or him and I are pretty good friends. He took my wife and I, and uh, Jason Busat, a friend of mine that comes down from, he's from Canada here too, and we all went for a ride in the Boss with all four of us in it, and I'm like, it's amazing
Yeah,
the performance set. And that's what there's four of us in it. And what we were doing with four of us in it was like, yeah, this is it. And then
yeah.
that wing, that's the Rev 3 wing on that Boss right now. And that's the wing I'm building a turbine cub. It's got huge flaps, and most of it's all flap. And then these smaller ailerons, a bigger chord, obviously aileron. But that wing at gross weight at 2,700 pounds, like when it's on the Rev 3, the stall speed's 24 mile an hour.
So
So
slow.
yeah,
That's
yeah, like
ridiculous.
you on a normal Cub wing isn't even that slow unless you put pistol flaps and goodies on it. So
That's insane, man.
yeah. So and then this turbine Cub, I increased the gross weight between. We did a bunch of different changes to the wing, like we box spar the whole rear spar doublers. Bigger anchor point, like bolts going into the fuselage. And we got it increased gross weight to 3,200 pounds because I'm going to have to have 800 pounds of fuel on board because I want the range to be, well, 4 hour range with, well, 3.5 hours with a half an hour reserve that hopefully stays full all the time. It has to. And that's going to be how big my header tank is in the turbine Cub.
Wow, that's
So
a lot of fuel.
yeah, yeah. But like, it's 60 gallons in the wing, and then I got 45 gallons in the belly, and then the header tank's 15 gallons. So a lot of times I had just if it's short little trips, I just fill the wings up because that turbine is at idle, it burns 20 gallons an hour, and it can cruise like in a King Air or whatever, they burn like 60, 65. But with this, I'm going to hit B&E so quick, and there's so much that I'll just be just above idle when I'm cruising with it. So we're estimating 28 to 30 gallons an hour will be the fuel burn in this turbine Cubs.
Man, getting it down is going to be the hard part, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, and it's going to be different, like with that beta and reverse on that prop. Like I
Yeah.
come in just hanging on it, and then as soon as I slap down, put her in beta and reverse. It's going to be like my very first airplane. Learning it's even my first airplane. Feels like it even building it because they're reaching out to so many other people on installing the turbine and how it all works, and I was so excited about it. And when I get into there, the first to start taxiing around before I take the first flight, my heart's going to be just going through the roof. So
Yeah, it's going to be insane, man. But that sounds awesome. All right, well, I'm looking forward to seeing more on the Turbine Cub and just in general your family flights and your life. That's awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. Everybody, don't forget, if you want your name on the plane, go to Mad Custom Cubs. It's 250 Canadian dollars, and he'll send you a hoodie and put you in for the drawing. So go ahead and go up there and do that. Also, I'm going to link all of his social media stuff in the description below. Do you have any last words for everybody?
Oh, I just appreciate everyone out there, or even you reaching out and doing this. I love aviation, and I want it to grow. I wish we had aviation up here in Canada as you guys got down in the States. Like that's just thank you for everyone that's helped me out and is allowing me to live my dream. So
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming on. Like this has been a lot for me to take on, and people like you that have a following and do really cool stuff make it really easy for me to talk to. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule and talking with me. So hopefully we get to meet up sometime. And maybe if I go to Oshkosh this year, I'll see you there.
yeah, bring your wife to Oshkosh.
Yeah.
Time's coming. Might be a start to a new relationship and get her hooked.
Heck yeah.
And she'll be flying with you every year coming to Oshkosh.
That would be the dream. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, guys. As always, success starts with a positive attitude. Thanks for joining me for another episode. Don't forget to check out the Mad Custom Cubs website to support Shane and the Turbine Cub build. If you would like to be featured on the podcast, reach out and let me know. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, and share it with others.